I mean, I'm just at a loss for words. This is awful. Flat out awful.
You are Locked On Nittany Lions, your daily podcast on the Penn State Nittany Lions. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
You are locked on to Penn State football. I think Penn State is trailing 27-20 at the half against UCLA. My name is Seyko, and I'm your host of Locked On Nittany Lions. As always, credentialed media member for both Penn State football and Penn State wrestling. Thank you for joining me on this live halftime reaction. Just to set the stage, Penn State is down 27-7 to 0-4 UCLA, who has lost to UNLV. New Mexico got blown out by Utah, lost to Northwestern. We're going to try to make some sense of this. I have no idea, but also to set the stage, this is a brief reaction, so we want to watch the game, right? I think we want to watch the game. So this will be a 2-segment, 15 to 20-minute reaction just to kind of get some thoughts out there. I'm not ready to completely write off this team in the moment because I think they're going to come out motivated in the second half. I think. Social media, obviously the comments are very fitting, and so is the comment section here in the live chat. I will try to get to the non-vulgar responses as much as I can here, but I was out in Harrisburg earlier today, following the game remotely until I got home here, and got to see Kevin Brown play, and very good prospect, but that doesn't matter in the scheme of things because Penn State is down by 20 points. And this is all on coaching, but the players are not executing. It's like they never even got off the plane. Neither side of the football, at least, okay, if UCLA is going to score, at least Penn State's going to go toe-to-toe with them, right? This will just end up being a shootout. No, the offense has no response. Nobody wants to be there. That's why it's atrocious, because nobody's head is in this game. I can't point to one player and say, if you want to give anybody some credit, I guess Katron Allen is having the best day of anybody. But so be it. Because everybody else has looked atrocious, from play calling to motivation, and that starts at the top with coaching. I understand what Penn State is trying to overcome here. I understand. And I set the stage for this. This is your typical trap game. It really is. You are coming off of an Oregon game where you lose in double overtime. You got to fly across the country. And I said in my preview show, hey, Penn State's probably going to have a slow start today. The jet lag, the game against Oregon, that's all going to linger. They're human. That should be expected. But not like this. If you would have told me, hey, UCLA would be tied with Penn State at half, okay, I could buy that. But with how bad UCLA has been, it's completely unacceptable. Even if Penn State wins this game, you have to walk away and say, Ohio State's almost impossible. Indiana, forget about it. Because you should not be losing to a team that lost to New Mexico the way that it did. And it wasn't some thrilling overtime finish. No, that was 35-10 against New Mexico. The thing that UCLA has going for it is the element of surprise, the onside kick. They don't care. I said UCLA is going to be a bull in the china shop. They are going to play loose. They are going to play free. And they're doing just that. They don't care. They don't give a darn. They are looking to mess stuff up and ruin Penn State's season. So that is why you're seeing them execute the way that they are executing, aside from Penn State just playing so poorly. It's that UCLA is pulling out all of the stops. They're playing with a little bit of a chip on their shoulders because everybody has trashed them, made fun of their program. I mean, everybody's been critical of them. They've changed coaching staff members left and right. Forget about just firing a head coach. It's a new OC one week. It's a new DC another week. Staff members are leaving. Recruiting's falling apart. And they're up 27-7 against Penn State. All across the board, it's frustrating. because of what, not only what where UCLA is at, but that there's just no fight. I understand making some mistakes and not playing your sharpest bit of football, but it just looks across the board. There is no fight. Offensive line, Drew, I don't know how much you can blame on Singleton and Allen when they only have 4 and 5 carries respectively, but this is obviously primarily on the defense because you give up 27 points to UCLA. You let them move the football and get that final field goal because I said, I'm convincing myself, I'm doing mental gymnastics. Hey, if they go into halftime down 24-14, okay, that's a little more manageable. Fine, so be it. But you're down 27-7. This is obviously very reminiscent to the last time they went out to Southern California where they were down 20-6 against USC. The difference was Penn State was undefeated, but that halftime show is still there. I almost remember what I said, exactly what I said. I had no concerns in that game. I have tons of concerns here because Penn State is not mentally sound right now. They are falling apart. Again, if they come back and win this game, fine, so be it. But that's why I can sit back and say, oh, against USC, it's just going to be like that all over again. I don't know. I had more confidence in Penn State beating a better USC team at the time a year ago than I do now against an atrocious, abysmal UCLA team. They switched sides. Penn State's playing like UCLA, and UCLA is playing the way Penn State is supposed to play. 27-7. This game's defined so far by missed tackles. Again, just undisciplined, sloppy play. I understand not having your best stuff, jet lag, coming off of the Oregon game. I get it. I do, but not to this extent. If this was a USC team, if this was a better, more capable team, you're facing, say, you go out west and you play Washington or USC on the heels of that Oregon game, this score would make sense to me. This does not make sense to me at all. At some point, talent's got to kick in. I don't know why Penn State has to be so mentally motivated to beat a UCLA team. Why do they have to be able to run through a brick wall to beat the Bruins? Why do you have to pull out all the stops in your scheme to stop coaches who haven't coached before? This team doesn't have a coaching staff. So that's my rant for the moment. We'll let this game go final before we make any true declarations. And I know the comment section is lighting up, so that's where I will devote the second segment of this show entirely to. Let's go through the box score briefly. We'll take a quick break and then get back into it and hear from all of you in the comment section as much as possible. Again, this is just a quick 2-segment recap of the first half because we have to suffer and watch the second half of this game. This game's defined by missed tackles all across the board. Anybody, undisciplined play. Nico Yamaliava looking like a first round pick all of a sudden at quarterback. He is dropping incredible passes. The offensive line for UCLA looks the best that it's been all season, again, against talented players. Denai Dennis-Sutton, Zane Durant, Zariah Fisher, Alonzo Ford. Nobody's doing much of anything. Okay? They're getting chunk plays. They're not getting behind the sticks. And this UCLA offensive line is one of the worst in all of FBS football. But you wouldn't know it based on today. So Penn State's got the offense. I don't know what the offense needs to do or not do because they haven't been on the football field much. UCLA has been eating a lot of this clock. And they're very well. They are going to sit on the football. They're going to try and score, of course. But a 17-play drive by UCLA to score a touchdown. It doesn't even seem real. It feels like an alternate reality. All right, we're going to take a quick break. When we come back, go to the comments section. We're going to use the comments that are not vulgar, that do contribute to the conversation, but I get it. Everyone's frustrated. I'm frustrated. I totally understand. So we'll hear from all of you coming up next here on this live edition of Locked On Nittany Lions. And today's show is brought to you by Peloton. Peloton is shaping the future of fitness with the brand new Peloton Cross Training Tread Plus, powered by Peloton IQ. It's their most advanced equipment yet, designed to give you real-time guidance and endless ways to move. Whether you're running, lifting, or cross-training with your favorite instructors, this is training reimagined. Peloton is built for breakthroughs with tools that help you plan, stay motivated, and reach peak performance. You'll love how the Peloton IQ system offers real-time strength coaching. It actually tracks your reps, suggests the right weights, and corrects your form, making every rep safer. The swivel screen is a game changer. You can go from running on the Tread Plus to strength training without missing a beat, and the personalized class recommendations keep you engaged, and you get workouts tailored to your vibe and your energy level each week. So let yourself run, lift, flex, and push forward. Explore the new Peloton Cross Training Tread Plus today at onepeloton.com. That is onepeloton.com. All right, and thank you so much for joining the live show as we're all on the edge of our seat trying to figure out, okay, what's going to happen? Does the season really end here? That's it. The season ends here if Penn State does not win. Because it doesn't matter what happens against Ohio State. I guess, okay, in theory, do they win out? But probably not. Nobody is expecting Penn State to win out if they lose to UCLA. So the season ends today if they lose. And all those investments, you go and get Jim Knowles. You bring back all the veteran players. You push for the fans and for the donors to contribute as much as you can to NIL. All for what? To be done by Game 5. That's frustrating. Hello from Knoxville, Tennessee. Good Lord mercy, what is going on? That's what's going on. Penn State's down 27-7 to UCLA. Franklin is nervous. They're asleep. They're asleep. I don't even nerves. You're nervous against UCLA? It's all psychological because Penn State is better across the board on paper. Pedestrian puts it likely. You'll see Penn State go up tempo and go quick and everything because they got to get points. They're down by 20 at halftime. They get the ball back to start. It's a must. If they don't score in the first drive out of halftime, I don't have an answer. I don't have an answer. And then the post-game conversation is going to look a lot like this. That's how the post-game conversation is going to look. Fire Franklin, I'm done. That's what it's going to look like because audio listeners are going to listen to this back and be like, what is he talking about? Oregon broke us. I think that's fair to say. Yeah, the Oregon game, and this is, how do I want to put it? Because I don't want to, par for the course, since I can't come up with a better term here. It's history has told us this, that Franklin teams do not respond regardless of the opponent. I pointed it out in the preview show. Hey, Penn State, they should win comfortably here, but they'll have a slow start because they typically don't play well after a game like the Oregon game. They typically don't respond. Indiana, 2 years ago, went down to the wire with a Tom Allen Indiana team. Who did they lose to? Michigan beforehand? I'm blanking on that one. Maybe it was Ohio State. Who knows? But they did not respond after the biggest game on the schedule. You can make the argument it's Ohio State on the road before the season, right? Preseason. I'd say it's Oregon, and you lost. So what's new? Yeah, right. Should anybody be surprised that it's all mental. It's all mental. Didn't even use a timeout. Yeah, I'm not sure what Penn State was doing in terms of clock management. And you'll see a lot of this in the postgame if it continues this way. Oregon broke us. Fire Franklin. By Franklin. Yep, 27-7. If I happen to say a different score on accident, I'm trying to catch up, right? I went to the Harrisburg High School game today, followed the game coming home, and I got to see Kevin Brown play. Great. Penn State's top prospect. I appreciate, I see I thank you so much for the super chat contributions. Luke says, all I can say is, yeah, I think that's where we're all at. I appreciate the super chat contributions. Thank you so much. The team has given up on Franklin. Time to go, coach. The post game show is going to look a lot like that again. Honestly, whether they win or lose, if they do lose, there's not an excuse. There's not an excuse at that point, and we're going to have a very different conversation. I really want this to be a mulligan. I see that they've started the third quarter. So, yeah, Penn State is broken. This has been it seems like the consensus is that Franklin needs to go, that he needs to be fired. I don't know how many other people are going to stay by his side in terms of the Penn State fan base here. Try the jet sweep. Yeah, try some more jet sweeps on offense. So the third quarter just started. I know that I have 400 of you here to talk. So we'll see what happens. If they win this game, I think most people are going to say, if they win this game, most people are going to still say, fire Franklin. This is a sign of things to come. It just happened earlier than it needed to. If they lose this game, this is obviously, you have your answer. Because so it's pretty straightforward. So I'm trying to read the comments back and forth while process, my thoughts. Zach, I've never heard your tank on Franklin. Say a loss happens here. What happens with Franklin? Where does the team go from there? So this is where I will wrap things up because, like I said, the game is back on, but I appreciate 400 people jumping into the live show with me here. My take on Franklin is he's a very good coach. He's a CEO. He's good for college football. I don't think he'd be unemployed for very long. The buyout is pretty lofty, which is why if Penn State, if they lose today, it makes Pat Kraft's decision almost like you have to make a move. You have to make a decision because your season ended here in Game 5 against a team like this. If that's the case, then yeah, you can't do that when you got Jim Knowles. Andy Kotelnicki was your choice at offensive coordinator. You finally got your choices at coordinator. You didn't get your fourth or fifth choice. NIL was boosted for you. You pushed donors. You pushed fans. All to fumble it. So at that point, it's what's the excuse? What's the excuse at that point? You're investing all the money into a stadium. So my take on Franklin is that he is a very good coach, but he does get in his own way at times. He helped build Penn State to where it is, but it is very apparent that he may not be able to take them to that next level, the national title, winning against elite pro. Everybody wants Penn State to be more than just good, more than just great, be elite. Can you be in that top 4 with Georgia, Ohio State, now Oregon on a routine basis? And with Franklin, you might have your answer today. Most people would say, well, we already knew, but they were getting closer. They were getting closer each time. And it seems that it's always going to end the same way. Losing to the teams that are elite because you were either only good enough or great enough. You're not elite. So that's just it. Penn State is not elite and probably won't ever reach that threshold under James Franklin. So that's my take on it for the most part. Let's watch this game. Let's see it unfold. Let's see how it goes. It's not looking good. I have it pulled up in front of me. I don't have the actual feed itself, but Penn State, if they lose to UCLA, this is going to be an awkward conversation, to say the least. Thank you so much. My name is Zach Seyko. I'm your host of Locked On Nittany Lions, as always. Thank you for joining me here in the middle of halftime. Appreciate each and every one of you. We are going to do a live post-game show after the fact, win or loss, and we'll react to it accordingly. Appreciate the support. If you're new here, become an everydayer, subscribe to the YouTube channel and wherever you get your podcasts for the latest conversations around Penn State. Hopefully the conversations around a win, but it's not looking good. Thank you so much for joining me here.